pay my child's school fees? Could you help me pay my rent? You can't. If you have, you would help. But talking about phones, well, Airtel Tigo says opt for an easier, faster way to self-register your Airtel Tigo SIM with the GH SIM Self-Reg app. Now you can easily register your Airtel Tigo number from the comfort of your home, your office, or wherever you are. Just you and the GH SIM Self-Reg app. First, download the GH SIM Self-Reg app from the Google Play Store. Set up your account by entering your Airtel Tigo number, email address, full name, and 4-digit PIN sent over SMS. Then log into your new account, follow all the prompts, and make a payment of 5 cedis via your Airtel Tigo Money wallet or any bank card to complete your SIM registration. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now, register your Airtel Tigo number today. Airtel Tigo, life is simple.
Getting cash on the go from an ABSA ATM is now so easy, even when you do not have your contactless ABSA debit card with you. For the first time in Ghana, you can withdraw money from any ABSA ATM with the ABSA mobile banking app using a QR code. It is easy, safe, and convenient. Simply open your ABSA mobile app, select ATM QR cash to scan the QR code on the ATM screen. Follow the prompts and get your cash out. It's that easy. That's another digital innovation that gets things done. That's Africanacity, and that's ABSA. Download the ABSA mobile banking app now to get started, or visit the nearest ABSA branch to sign up.
Well, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, your number one supplier of quality office essentials, equipment, and furniture at affordable prices, has introduced an online store for your shopping convenience. This means you can now shop by simply logging on to kingdomstoreonline.com without physically coming to any of our branches. It is hassle-free and will arrange delivery to your homes and offices within a reasonable time. We have a free delivery within Accra and term and accept payment via Momo across all networks. Terms and conditions apply at Kingdom. Quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
And do you want the respect, acknowledgement, and opportunities that come with being ranked among Ghana's top businesses? Then we have some news for you. The prestigious Ghana Club 100 is back again and is currently open for entries. Coming 14th October 2022 at the awards night, 100 outstanding companies in multiple sectors will be ranked based on their size, growth, and profitability. To be eligible for these coveted awards, an entrant must be a limited liability firm. Alternatively, companies with government interest should have less than 50% government ownership unless the company is listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. All entrants must have a cumulative operating profit for the most recent 3-year period, which is 2019, 2020, and 2021. Businesses who wish to be considered for these awards are requested to fill an application form online or read details on how to physically submit the application on GIPC's official website, gipc.gov.gh/blog. The deadline for submission is 23rd September 2022. For further information on the event, sponsorship, and advertising, you can contact Charles Opoku-Mensah or Acquah Mills on 0244 877 583 or 0544 332 086. Send an email to charles.mensah@gipc.gov.gh or efwa.techi, and Techi is TEKYI-mills@gipc.gov.gh.
Speed, roll it. Coffee in your cup. Enjoy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet. On Joy 99.
increased maybe a year, but now there's every 3 months there is an increase. And assuming if we are paying 1 cedi 20 pesos, we just brush it and pay 1 cedi 50 pesos. But now 30 pesos times 3 is almost getting to 1 cedi. You see, which is too much. It's too much. I'm a driver, but I feel for the passengers. So we have to look at the coin side too.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lawe. And Lawe is a driver, and he is actually feeling it even for the passengers. John is at Ridge. John, good morning.
Okay, my greetings to Mamavi Owusu-Aboagye.
Hi, John.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, when the week hits Friday, my heart starts pumping because the moment I see or I know that day Friday, it means from that day to Monday, I'm going to spend my housekeeping, small provisions, my fuel, and 700 days in the month. Look, just yesterday, I opened the fridge and I saw that there was even more in the fridge. We normally use this box, even the skin room. And I thought it was about 2017. You know, my phone has opened a new shop around Cantonment there. It's a new Mercury. And Mercury, everyone believes that they're friends at me. I went there, it was 45 just yesterday. A bar of butter. 60 something. What is going on? Every weekend, when I look, I get to know that today is Friday. My heart is simple. Because my Monday, I've spent more than 8 times. And after the where do I get the other support? What is happening in the country? Those in charge of affairs, don't they see what is going on?
All right, John, thank you very much for joining us. Let's go to Asylum Down where Nee is. Nee, good morning. Hello, Nee. Oh, we've lost you, Nee. Kindly try and get in touch with us again, Nee. You can reach us on 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541, or 055-1111-997. 055-1111-997. Would love to hear from you. Want to know what your rate of inflation is. Let's get to Ejayao at Oyibi. Ejayao, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Winston. How are you?
I'm fine, Ejayao. How about you?
I'm also fine, thank you.
Great.
This morning, you are making all of us very sad.
Oh, why?
Sad because we are all getting confused about the economy we live in, whether anybody cares about the concerns and the complaints that the citizens are raising. This issue of the loan, myself too, I'm on a loan with one of the banks. I don't know if I can mention the name.
Don't mention the name.
This month alone, I had to pay in excess of 1,200, in addition to the loan that I am already paying.
You're paying 1,200 more.
1,200. Some are paying more. Some of my colleagues are paying more. And somebody must be interested about this. So for me, the general, issues in the economy goes beyond microeconomics, where the Bank of Ghana will meet, and it's like, they are doing something and nothing seems to be done. It appears the Kalabule of 1970s and 80s have gotten it back into the Ghanaian system. They call it business. I don't understand why somebody will go to Accra Central, pick an item, and then come to just an outskirts of Tudu and want to sell that thing twice the price. Something is happening to our economy. So, Winston, if the authorities are listening, these concerns are real. And, the system is getting very unbearable. But let me take advantage of my first calling Joy FM and also complain about the traffic at the Adenta Dodowa Road. This morning I set off at 5:30. Between Oyibi and Adenta, we spent almost 1.5 hours.
Wow.
And the only thing happening, the traffic currently there are the ramps. There are rumble strips at Shafraha, Ashiye, Amanfro, and all of them. These are causing the traffic. So if the Ghana Highway Authority is listening and the Vice President is concerned about that road, they should try and remove the rumble strips as an interim measure for us.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jaya from OEB, for joining us. It's one of the projects that will be constructed with the Sino Hydro funds. Daniel is in Shaiman. Daniel, good morning.
Fine morning.
Yes, Daniel.
Yes, I'm good. I am delighted about your topic this morning because it's affecting me seriously. The issue is to answer your question. From March to date, the rate of inflation in Ghana is around 130-150%.
Daniel, how did you come by that figure?
Yes, the price of every commodity in Ghana has more than doubled. Every commodity, from rice to oil to spare parts, whatever. Food item, cassava, anything, Gary, everything has doubled, more than doubled. And that is a very serious situation in which we find ourselves. Wherever you work in Ghana, everybody is in crisis. Now, let me just give you a few examples.
Please do.
At the beginning of this year, I don't want to be specific in months, but at the beginning of this year, January, February, March, you will buy a tin of Milo around 9 cedis. Now it's around 23, 25. More than doubled. A bar of soap used to cost around 4 cedis, 5 cedis. It's now 13, 5, 15 cedis. A bar of tissue. And I can go on and go on and go on with an endless list. Everything has gone up. Now.
Okay, I think we've lost Daniel. Let's get to Gershon at East Legon. Gershon, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Amoah.
Yes, Gershon. Hope you're fine.
It's been
this
a long
morning.
time. Yeah. I have two issues. The first one is bread. The cost of bread is too much. It's too rampant. Now, number two, there are some places that usually when, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, normally when they practice the transportation, looking at the conditions of the road. If you look at from Bong to Dwapon, because of the think that that's the reason why they are giving the price high. But now that the two is not, they believe that from Dwapon to Bong, between 15 minutes time, now they are taking 10 cities, just like Acquah on both, the same as Acquah on both. So it's like they are just killing people just like that. 15 minutes drive, you take 10 cities. So I think the road safety, I don't know who's supposed to take care of those things. They should look at some road and the kind of further they are taking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gershon from East Legon. Bishop is at Asante Mampong. Good morning, Bishop.
Winston, how are you?
I'm fine, Bishop. Hope you're fine too.
Winston, what can we do? Before I say what I want to say, I want to just give free counsel to Ghanaians. Don't let us worry about what we have no control over. If we do worry, we'll give ourselves pressure.
Okay.
And give us psychological problems, sicknesses, and the rest. That is the strategy I've used. What I have no control over, I try to do away with it and manage within the little that I have. And I also have another advice for Ghanaians. When you are going for a loan, go in for that loan for only 12 months. Use it after the 12 months, then you budget again for another 12 months. You avoid all these increases and they will add about 1,000 to what you are already paying. Listen, let me say this. I mean, the increase is daily. In everything. Where you urinate in public places, where you buy recycled water, whatever you consume, fuel. I'll tell you, we have a vehicle. Every time we're going to Cape Coast from Mampong, we contribute and fuel the car. Last year, I think One will fill the tank and get to Cape Coast. We'll go straight to UCC Bell Station and we'll put something in to top it to the full. It is about 150, 140, depending on the road we pass. Ghana cities that will fill it. The same distance today. I came from there just 3 days ago, Saturday. We did the same thing. We contributed. Filled the tank. The tank that we used to fill for 400 cedis now is 1,000 cedis. That's Kia Sorrento. And then when we got to Cape Coast, we went to the fuel pump, 520 cedis. From 160, 180, or 150. Look at the margin. If I want to go on and on, I'll give you a lot of examples.
I can understand you. So, I mean, the price of fuel has gone up and is affecting you. Thank you very much, Bishop from Asante Mampong. Let's get to Accra, where Ro is. Ro, good morning.
Winston, good morning.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Well, you could tell from my voice.
Yes.
It's not a pleasant situation for what we see in our streets, what we see in homes, and what we see in our communities. Bro, if care is not taken, the center cannot hold. And I pray that the governor of the Bank of Ghana and the Minister of Finance will be truthful to Ghanaians. For that matter, the banks and then the business community. See, as we speak, there are a lot of things that these two sectors are hiding from you and I. And until we know the truth, our CD against the dollar, or the dollar against the CD, or however you want to convert it, until we get those fundamentals right. And I'm not talking about a fundamental which was propagated by the now Vice President. No. Please. It's so basic, but it comes with truth. These two ministries, the governor and the Minister of Finance, must come clean and tell Ghanaians what the real issue is. Please. What government can do now to help all of us? Get the national security involved. Call on companies, haulage companies that has a lot of trucks to move into the interlands. We have the military. The military is the 48, the 49 regiment. They are there. They can help the situation. Let them go and bring the foodstuffs to the various regional capitals. Winston, if care is not taken, the center will break. And listen, if you listen to the youth, the way the youth are angered if we are not careful. Boss, let us do the minute things that we can as a government. Please. God bless this country.
God bless you too, Ro. And Ro will be our final caller for now. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. I want to return, guys. I'll give you a chance to, tell us what your thoughts are on all the persons we've listened to this morning. But we'll also speak to some economists, because the IEA is making some proposals. We'll find out what their views are. Raymond will first of all share with us those proposals and analysis made by the IEA, and then we'll get to hear from our panelists here on the Super Morning Show.
I've been everywhere and anywhere I go.
Fortune rice, it needs just a little water. The grains don't stick and the aroma and taste are delicious. Fortune rice, always on point, just like mom.
Now introducing Fortune Amoah, your tasty Ghana rice for all your rice meals.
This advert is FDA approved.
Just like mom.
Whatever it is, make it MasterCard. Switch to card for all your payments. Make it MasterCard when creating memories with those you love. Make it MasterCard when streaming your favorite music album or TV series. Make it MasterCard when doing your usual supermarket run, in-store or online. When filling up your tank for a thrilling road trip, make it MasterCard, the safe and convenient way to pay. MasterCard. Priceless.
When the world looks at my child, they just see an energetic 8-year-old. But I see more. My Lucy is going to become captain of her school volleyball team, keep excelling in class, and do great things one day. I see a champion. So when I give her Milo with her breakfast every day, it's all part of waking up the champion in her.
Don't just wake up your child, wake up the champion in her. Let Milo with Active Go and the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa help wake up the champion in your child every day. Milo, energy to go further. Milo. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, welcome back to work.
Charlie, thanks, bro. Thanks,
the
bro.
Malaria really knocked you down, eh?
Charlie, no joke. Hey, fever, headache, vomiting, loss of appetite. I couldn't even eat my usual fufu.
You and fufu?
How we go do it?
I hope you got tested before the malaria treatment.
Oh, yes, I did. And thanks to Malatu, I kicked out malaria one time.
Sharp. Anyway, sorry to ruin your excitement, but your boss asked of you.
Okay.
She says she has plenty work for you.
No problem, Charlie. Strength day.
You see,
When malaria strikes, take Malatu, containing Artemether and Lumefantrine. Comes in tablet and suspension for the effective treatment of malaria in adults and children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Malatu is manufactured and distributed by Ernest Chemists Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Football's greatest season is here, and DSTV is the stadium with all the action. Enjoy every single match from the FIFA World Cup, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the UEFA Europa League, and the UEFA Champions League. The greatest football from the greatest leagues around the world. Ronaldo, Haaland, Messi, Salah, Afena-Gyan, and Benzema. All week, every week. Get your decoder today for just 169 Ghana cedis and upgrade to Compact and be part of sport's greatest stadium only on DSTV. DSTV, it's your moment.
Good morning. Wake up to the original magazine show. The Super Morning Show. Fox Speed, roll it.
Right, welcome back. This is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. So, Wendy Shea encouraging all of us. But, Raymond, what's the IEA been saying about, inflation and steps that should be taken by government? You tell us that shortly. But first, are you ready to wake up the champion in your child today? Don't just wake up your child. Help wake up the champion in your child with energy from Milo, with Active Go and other foods. Your child needs all the help they can get as they go through their daily activities. And Milo with Active Go contains the natural goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. And it's a source of vitamins B2, B3, B6, B12, C, and D, and iron, calcium, and phosphate. Energize your child with a nourishing cup of Milo every day. Milo, energy to go further.
Have you registered your Surfline numbers yet? Well, in line with the National Communication Authority's directive to get all SIM cards re-registered, Surfline has demarcated special registration points close to your community to help you register your MiFis and routers. You can also visit any Surfline shop near you to register with your Ghana card. Remember, no registration, no service. Register your Surfline numbers today to avoid disconnection. Surfline, better together.
Yes, Raymond. So what's the IEA saying?
So first, this is a press release following the inflation hitting a 21-year record. And it says here there is heightened urgency for the Bank of Ghana and the government of Ghana to act. It traces the history and talks about 50 consecutive monthly increases happening with the 21-year record that we have with 33.9 in August. It talks about high food and fuel prices attendant to COVID and Russia-Ukraine war have accentuated inflation across the globe. Now, the critical part is that it has to be said, and I'm quoting it, that if one were following the inflation targeting principle religiously, then based on the balance of risk presented above, a case could be made for increasing the prime rate by about 200 basis points. However, as we have argued constantly, it is also clear that the prime rate alone cannot be relied on to address the current inflation crisis, especially in view of the peculiarity of the causes. If we push the prime rate to the limit, the consequences of the real economy could be disastrous. Indeed, many countries around the globe have come to the realization and are taking unprecedented measures beyond their orthodox inflation management frameworks to deal with the situation, which is an unprecedented inflation crisis. In view of this, our expectation is that the MPC will keep the prime rate on hold at 22%. We expect the Bank of Ghana, however, to work with the government of Ghana to adopt additional targeted measures to fight the inflation crisis, as we indicated below. Now, it talks about what should be done and to what. About the other measures we suggest, regarding food, we call for reinforcement of measures to ensure that food stocks are easily transported from farm gates to markets. We call for subsidies on basic staples like maize, rice, cooking oil, and bread subsidies. Secondly, regarding fuel, we call for reduction of some of the fuel taxes or levies and use of part of the government's windfall gains from higher oil prices to cushion pump prices. Regarding transport, we call for expansion of public transport and subsidization of fares to cushion the masses. And regarding the exchange rate, we call on Bank of Ghana to enforce the foreign exchange laws, including relating to forex carry-on limits for travelers, forex trading, pricing of goods and services in forex, and forex travels through banks. We also call on the Bank of Ghana to negotiate with foreign companies to stagger repatriation of their dividends and profits to reduce pressure on the exchange rate. So these are the key ones that they are proposing.
But the first point talks about how they say the consistent increases in prime rate or the policy rate is not really helping. And other things should be done. Let me start off with, let me introduce our guest for this morning. Professor Peter Quartey is the director of the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana. And Professor Lord Mensah is an economist with the University of Ghana Business School. Good morning, Professor Peter Quartey, and good morning to you, Professor Lord Mensah.
Good morning, and good morning to your discerning listeners.
Great. And
good morning.
Yes, good. We have you. So let me, start with you, Professor Peter Quartey, and get your general thoughts about the statement from the IEA concerning increases in the policy rate, which they say should be stayed for now and other measures be implemented. Before we get into the specifics, generally, what do you make of it?
Well, I think generally they are right in the sense that inflation is not just demand pull, but a cost push factor. You cannot fight it with all the monetary policy tools. You need supply side policies as well. So that's how come the Ministry of Finance or government as a whole would also have to look at other measures to fight inflation. If you want to continue to increase the policy rate and by extension interest rates, what you're doing is that, yes, you are mopping up excess liquidity. You are also trying to ensure that depositors don't withdraw their money and invest into other assets like buying dollars as a store of value or buying land, etc. So you want to sustain deposits and also mop up excess liquidity. But whilst you're doing that, lending rates also increase. People have to borrow to finance their consumption, investments. Businesses would have to borrow at higher cost, which has repercussions on investment. It has repercussions of profitability. It has repercussions on employment, wages, and so on and so forth. So one has to be very, very careful as you continue to touch the policy rate. You ought to strike a good balance between stimulating production, stimulating businesses, consumption, as well as also trying to attract deposits into the financial system instead of people stifling or withdrawing funds and buying foreign currency as a store of value.
Let me bring in Professor Lord Mensah at this point. But, this is something we've been doing for some time now. In fact, whenever inflation is going up, we resort to this. The country director of the World Bank says, but for this, inflation would have been higher than we have it now. So why would a measure that seems to be working be stopped?
Yeah, well, if you look at the structure of our economy, I mean, clearly, as you indicated earlier, Bank of Ghana, or to be specific, the Monetary Policy Committee, has been using these policy rates over the years. You see, you asked the question whether it will work or not. I see it to be more than just the policy rate. Because the policy rate approach, I mean, comes to control the demand side when it comes to funds. Effectively, if you look at the structure of the economy once again, you realize that it's an economy that the baseline that is supposed to help in controlling inflation is not working, because we've left the fiscal side, for which we've treated the Monetary Policy Committee's decision in isolation. So thinking that when the policy rates, when the inflation is going up, we can use policy rate to tackle it in isolation, forgetting that the way the government spends also has a way of, controlling inflation. For instance, if government decides to give us, or government will be bold enough to give us roads, very good roads, it will control spare parts importations. At the end of the day, if a driver is telling you that prices are going up, he's telling you two things. One, fuel price is going up. Two, spare parts price is going up. And it's going up as a result of importation, as a result of, the dollar rate that is, going high. So effectively, it tells you that the fiscal side also plays a major role. Okay. Now, if you look at what is happening currently, the budget deficit that we had somewhere in November, part of it is being financed by the Bank of Ghana now. And as a result of that, the policy committee thinks, there's kind of liquidity in the system. So more or less injecting liquidity through the Bank of Ghana's support to the government, and then using the policy rate mechanism to chase that liquidity. And that liquidity, as me and you know, is just hanging at the banking level, the way the bank takes money from the Bank of Ghana, and possibly even return it in a form of treasury bill investment. So effectively, it tells you that, look, the monetary policy alone will not be able to tackle the situation on the ground. However, we should look at the way the government spends.
But before we look at the way the government spends,
to control inflation, let's look at, things like investing in planting for food and jobs. If you look at the IEA's report, part of the recommendation is that government should find a way to get all those food stuff that are stuck at the market gate to the market. But how would they do that? We don't have good roads. And even in that case, provided the food is available. And I know at this time, for seasonal, as we've left agriculture for nature to determine for us. At this time, we know yam is on the market. I know very well yam is getting cheaper and cheaper now. So probably, if we have good roads, we could have gotten these yams to the market. So the way the government spends plays a major role in controlling inflation. You cannot lend to government by giving government 22 billion and then open it up and say government should have this fund, knowing very well that government is in distress when it comes to finances. Under normal circumstance, if you are really in business and you want to do something good with the state funds, all that you have to do is that government poses a threat, because as an ordinary person, if you are going to borrow from the bank and you pose more risk, the bank directs the way you use the money. And so government, taking money from the Bank of Ghana and then more or less using the monetary policy rate to chase that kind of liquidity at the level of, the government, for me, it won't work. But then the way the money should be spent should be able to, help in controlling inflation.
You say it won't work, as in if we try using the policy rate to arrest inflation?
Only the policy rate.
Only the policy rate. It won't work for us?
Yes.
Well, the World Bank country director says, but for that would have been in a worse situation.
That is why we need a blend of the policy rate and the fiscal policies as well.
But do you agree? Do you agree that but for that would have been in a worse situation?
Yes, I do. I do.
So if you agree, then we should be thinking of increasing it, isn't it?
Yes, we should. But then the part of the rate that is not coming down is as a result of the way government is spending. If the government is spending into areas that are not efficient enough, government is spending into areas of the economy that are not building up, into job creation and all those, permanent job creation and all those. I mean, how do you want to control inflation? How do you want people to put food on their tables? So effectively, I mean, it will go a long way to build up in price hikes. But at the end of the day, we're going to import more because the production capacity of the country, is not being targeted when it comes to government spending.
So the IEA is of the view, before I get to Professor Peter Quartey, with you, Lord Benson, the IEA is of the view that we should maintain it and look at other measures. You would say we should increase it and look at other measures, right?
Well, maintenance, I think maintaining it for now, the call by the IEA is in the right direction because we've been doing this over the years. If it's not working, it means there's something missing as far as the drivers of this inflation is concerned. And that is what we need to look out for. And I see it to be in the way government spends.
Professor Quartey, let's look at the drivers of inflation. Now, the IEA is making certain proposals. They talk about, regarding food, we call for reinforcement of measures to ensure that they're easily transported for farm gates to the markets. This is something that, I mean, when I was in secondary school, we learned. As a teenager, we learned these things. If anything was going to change, it would have changed by now, wouldn't it?
Well, certainly. It still really goes back to the structure of our economy. We are true agrarian and we don't process most of the things we produce. So when the weather is good, we get bumper harvest. We don't have good storage facilities. And therefore, at the farm gate, it is sold very cheaply, whilst in the market, it is still expensive. Transportation cost is very high. You see, in all of this, I mean, we've spoken about supply side, demand management, supply side, where Bank of Ghana can continue to do what it's doing. Otherwise, it would have been worse. But the Bank of Ghana cannot do it alone. It needs the fiscal authorities to do so. That is why in the report there is a proposal that even the tax on fuel can be considered, because fuel prices, of course, translates into higher transport costs. And if you have to transport food from the farm gate to the market at a very high cost, that will certainly have repercussions on the prices. We also know that what we are facing is also an exchange rate problem.
Yes, but before we get to the exchange rate problem, Professor
foreign
Quartey,
currency.
Before we get to the exchange rate problem,
it's something that is translating into higher fuel prices, and therefore, although the world market price is reducing, for oil is reducing, we are still paying high cost of fuel, etc. But the point be made that we need to invest into warehousing, invest into processing, so that any time there is bumper harvest, we are able to store and also supply them to the market as well.
Okay. Professor Quartey, we need to invest into warehouses. I mean, the last time we talked about constructing some 80 warehouses. We even went about with one district, one warehouse project. Now, the point is, these things that you talk about, these are things for the long term. Currently, as we stand, what is it that we can do to help bring down the rate of inflation within the short term?
Food production is increasing. Mm-hmm. So certainly, we see on the food side, the rate of inflation is not increasing as much as for non-food. But again, the issue about transport cost is very important. Immediately, what we can do is reduce the taxes on fuel. As it's pushing Ghanaians a little bit so that transport costs will come down. And by so doing, we can move the food items from the farm gate to the market. I mean, we need a massive injection of foreign currency in this country. For me, that is one of the key things we ought to do. Massive injection of dollars. All what we are seeing is an exchange rate. Most of it is exchange rate management. We need massive injection of foreign currency. That will reduce the rate of depreciation. And that will translate into many other facets of the economy. If we don't do that, we'll have problems. Then I see in the report also the need to manage the forest, look at our exchange control policies and implement them. We have very few countries like Ghana that you can walk to any corner and exchange millions of dollars. I mean, and move it everywhere. It is only in Ghana. In even neighboring countries, you need to show documentation. But otherwise, it's free for all. So people buy stock, speculate, move across borders. So no matter how much Bank of Ghana pumps into the economy, there's leakage, and it goes out just like that. If we don't tighten that aspect of the economy, then we'll just be joking, because we will not be able to restrict this kind of demand. It's only through management. And I think the informal sector, the black market, if you try to use too much force, they may go into hiding, but still operate and even be more profitable. So perhaps try to register them, get them to form associations, register them, introduce some regulations, not very tight, some regulations that will try to rope them in gradually into the former system. If we do that, I am very sure that we'll manage some of this speculation. And lastly, Winston, immediately we can also solve the issue of profiteering. We need to educate ourselves. Sometimes you go to the same market for one commodity, the prices vary so significantly. It can range from 20 cedis to 120 cedis or 150 cedis. The same market, same commodity. Whereas in other jurisdictions, if you want to buy, let's say, tomatoes or whatever, it is put on a scale. You know the price per pound, price is displayed. So there is perfect information, what we call perfect market. In our case, no. They look at you, the price varies so significantly that sometimes you wonder how our statistical data is collected accurately. So I believe the issue of profiteering is also a major factor that is driving up prices. We need to educate ourselves and try to streamline some of this informality and opaqueness in our trading system.
Okay. But Professor Quartey, now let's take it one after the other. When you talk about massive injection of dollars into the economy, where are we going to get that from? Looking at our challenges as a country.
Yeah, you see, we have caused this problem. If you look into World Bank IMF Debt Sustainability Report, right from 2013, they kept warning us that we are at risk of debt distress. They kept warning us. Because anything can happen. We can face any kind of shock. And when there is a shock, you can borrow immediately to fill in the gap. But when we reach this threshold, 60%, 70%, and we are
78%,
a double tsunami or anything that could happen, then you are found helpless. And that is where we find ourselves now. We have hit the threshold. Our credibility is very low. Our risk profile is very high. Foreign investors are selling out bonds and exiting the market. And globally, everybody is suffering, is facing challenges. So your neighbor will not lend to you when especially your risk profile is very high. Hopefully, we have relied on cocoa syndicated loans. We have relied on Eurobond, or for the Eurobond, we cannot even go because the price is going to be too high for us to afford. So if we get the Eurobond fund in good time, if we get IMF support in good time, we will be able to get this injection. But I think government can also engage with some of the bilateral donors as well as the multilateral institutions, because it is something that we need. We need some injection of cash, dollars into the system. And government can use it relationships and try to get some dollars into the system. That is the only way we can resolve this. Export would have been great when there is massive depreciation. It makes your exports cheaper, your imports expensive. Unfortunately for us, we are not able to export as much as take advantage of the export as much as we could. It also makes imports expensive, and therefore we cut down on imports. Unfortunately, our taste for imported goods are so high, insatiable, that no matter the price, we still continue to import. That's putting pressure on the dollar. So I believe the only way now, immediately, will be to engage some of this bilateral, country-to-country basis, multilateral donors, to see how they can help us inject some funds into the economy, while we try to clean some of the problems or the challenges we are facing.
Let me bring in Professor Lord Mensah, talking about the injection of dollars. Now, Professor Quartey makes us understand where we find ourselves, the difficulty in getting it. Now, we talked about the Afrexim Bank loan of $750 million going to help us. At the time, we talked about how, if you have dollars, go and change it because we're going to go there. It didn't do anything. 750 million, the cedi has gone past 10. Now, we're talking about $1.3 billion cocoa syndicated loan. Professor Lord Mensah, really, what can it do?
Well, I will go straight to tell you that they won't do much. They won't do much in the sense that the Ghanaian, economy, if you look at the demand for the dollar in our activities, the demand for the dollar has ceased to be for transactional purposes, because people are storing the dollar in a form of, asset, in a form of, investment, that even if you keep it without, sending it to the bank, in the next month or few years, you're going to be better off than investing in treasury bills, or which inflation is more than, the inflation is more than the interest rate structures within the economy. So the real rate of this kind of investment is more or less negative. But then you can only invest or keep your money in the treasury bills because you don't want to it to be lying idle. But then, if you look at this economy as we speak now, it's more import driven than export. So effectively, it tells you that there's more demand for the demand for dollar than anything else. So if you will get 1.3 billion for an economy that is worth over $40 billion US. As of the time that I estimated with an exchange rate of about 8 Ghana cedis per dollar. But then, if you should get even 3 billion, as we are looking out for from the IMF, it won't do anything. But then, in the meantime, it's going to give you some kind of stability. And then the period that you find yourself in that kind of stability situation, you restructure the economy. Because this economy, until we restructure the foundation of this economy, will still be pressing on.
How do you restructure the foundation of the economy? To what?
Yeah, it's an economy that is more import-driven than export. It's an economy that the goods that we import, some of them we can easily grow in our own environment. So what I'm saying is that in the process that we are receiving that kind of cushioning, that will give us certain, breathing space, we should seize the opportunity to restructure the economy in such a way that at least the things that we can grow in our environment, we take advantage of that. And that is why I keep on stressing that the way the government spends plays a major role. Let's take, for instance, if you are importing rice and you can grow rice to the extent of spending on irrigation to reduce, to increase the production of rice to the level where you can reduce rice importation to about 55%, right? It will go a long way to save your foreign currency. And when you grow rice, how long does it take? to get to the market. It won't be more than a year. So these are short-term measures that we can put in place whilst we have that kind of inflows. I mean, at that point, we'll be having some breathing space, but at least the short-term dollar demand that we have, we'll be able to meet them because of, that 1.3 billion that we have. But we should seize the opportunity to, make sure that we restructure the economy. And I keep on stressing that all these things boils down to how the government spends. We've gone down the road for the past 6 years, running out agriculture, policies, running out, irrigation policies and all those. That should tell you that our agriculture produce on the market shouldn't have been seasonal. Now that it's raining, I can tell you, as I indicated earlier, we have yam on the market now. And maize is going to be on the market because at least we've had a rain for some time now. So effectively it tells you that we've allowed nature to dictate, agriculture produce on our market. And as a result of that, when it's a lean season, it seems to increase our importation. And then there'll be pressure on the dollar.
All right.
So effectively, I'm telling you that it has to do with the way we spend. If we spend into sectors that will make impact in the economy, it will go a long way to control inflation. It will go a long way to control exchange rate, and it will go a long way to create jobs for our young ones.
Okay. Professor Quartey, I want to make reference to the IEA reports where it talks about the UK and makes mention of the new UK Prime Minister and the fact that she's imposed caps on energy prices for 2 years. Also to France, where they've capped fuel prices and limited electricity tariff increases to 4%. The question that they ask is, if these countries are taking these unorthodox and innovative measures to cushion their citizens who are far richer than us, then why can't our policymakers be equally proactive? So I want to pose that question to you. What's stopping us from doing something about the fuel prices?
Yeah, you see, the UK can afford to do that because they have allowed the market to determine the prices. If you look at our utility prices, any time the utility companies would want to increase tariffs, we give them a paltry percentage of what they ask for. So they are not getting enough to invest in the utility sector. And that is also a problem. Of course, we also know that there is a lot of leakage, there's a lot of waste in their system, losses that they need to account for. Some estimate it around 40% or so. So if you're asking us to pay more when you have not accounted for the losses, then would kick against that. But back to my point, the UK can afford because they are not having these kinds of losses. They are already charging economic prices, so they can afford to do that. They have the reserve, they have the resources. We don't. If we try to subsidize, I'm told Nigeria subsidizes a lot, and it's really a strain on their economy. So we ought to be careful if we want to cap increases at a very low rate to the extent that the utility companies might not be able to invest. We'll be back to where we were in 2013, 2014, where we had this doomsaw and all that. I think we've come a long way, and I don't think that should be the option. Perhaps some reductions in the tariffs on some of the utilities, especially fuel prices. If that happens, the consumer would be pushing in one way or the other. But to cap at a very low rate, that might not be enough for them to cover their cost of operation, will be disastrous, in my view.
But Professor Peter Quartey, in talking about fuel, now, this is not the first time we've raised these suggestions or made these suggestions. We've said to government, why don't you reduce taxes on petroleum products? Government's response has been they cannot do that because that revenue of about 4 to 5 billion Ghana cedis is badly needed. Mind you, we have a deficit of some 35 billion. Can we afford to remove these taxes?
Yeah, I mean, government needs revenue. You realize that there was a gap to be filled, and even e-levy was proposed, but that did not work because of the rate that was imposed and the politics around it. It certainly needs revenue, but there are other ways government can raise revenue. I mean, these days I've seen some innovations or attempts to get GRA to be more efficient. So once we're able to get the people who need to pay taxes to pay the right amount of taxes, we can then also look at taking off some of the tariffs. We can't take everything off. It has to be a gradual step. There are some percentage off, and gradually, as we introduce tax efficiency, we can remove some of the taxes. But at the moment, at the time, of course, it was difficult to do so because already e-levy was not bringing in the revenue, the needed revenue, and government was struggling. But going forward, as was proposed in the budget, a lot of digitalization and issues, other measures to improve tax efficiency. If that works very well, I believe we should be able to also look at this aspect where we cushion consumers of fuel. That would also have representation, will have some positive impact on food prices and inflation and so on and so forth. So that is something that we need to go back and take a second look at it.
Professor Lord Mensah, finally, if you look at the structure of the economy, if you look at how we are going, does it look like things would improve before the end of the year?
No, I don't foresee that happening before the end of the year. However, our engagement with IMF will really, play a major role as to how the economy will go in the next 1 year. Because I think IMF is waiting for our November budget policies to roll out some of the major outcomes of the engagement that they may have with us. So effectively, it's going to tone down government's way of spending, and then possibly having a budget with at least a moderate, budget deficit, for which in the end, government borrowing will completely go down, and possibly see interest rate structures, also coming down. So effectively, I don't foresee any improvement in the next 3 months or 4 months. The year is almost ending, and normally the last quarters of the years are usually decided on at the middle of the year. So whatever tone that we had, from the mid-year budget review, is going to end the year for us. So I don't see any improvement, in the next 1 year. But then what we can see some kind of reactions as far as the dollar demand and then interest rate structures, looking at the banking sector, investment into treasury bills and all those, when we reach the November budgets out.
Okay. Professor Peter Quartey, do you see anything changing?
Well, it's likely things will change, but that depends on if we're able to get massive injection of some of dollars or foreign currency into our system. It also depends on how far we go with the IMF program. Once we see that investors see that we have a program running or it's about to start, it will bring back the credibility that we have lost. Those who have sold their bonds, etc., might start coming back. And that will help minimize the rate of depreciation as well as help dampen the inflationary effect. So we could have some positive, though marginal, up to the end of this year. We are likely to see more from next year. But it depends, as I mentioned, how far we're able to go with the IMF program, get it running, as well as to what extent we're able to get some injection of foreign currency.
And if we don't get the massive injection of foreign currency?
Then we'll continue to experience the turbulence we are seeing on the exchange rate market. With inflation, food prices will dampen slightly. So we'll see some reduction on that side. Food inflation might come down a bit, but non-food inflation will continue to increase, and we need to be aware and work on that. The good thing is that Ghana Statistical Service gives us all the breakdown. So if we want to put in policy, we should know how to tackle this. We need to solve this exchange rate problem, this inflation problem, because the gains we made from 2017 to 2019, very great improvements in our growth numbers, macro data, is being eroded, and we need to get back to basics and solve this as quickly as possible.
Professor Peter Quartey, thank you very, very much for joining us. We're grateful. And thank you also, Professor Lord Mensah. We're grateful. Right, so you heard from Professor Peter Quartey, who is Director of the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research, and Professor Lord Mensah, who is an Associate Professor of Economics at the University of Ghana Business School. In studio, I'm Winston Amoah here with
Mamavi Owusu-Aboagye
and Raymond Acquah. Raymond, I see you've been nodding.
Yes, I agree 100% what you have said. My only difficulty is that it appears the response has not been coming from the right quarters properly. And right from the beginning of the year, if we took some of these steps early enough, I'm sure people have had some comfort, and there are interventions being thrown about across the world. We can do cherry picking. Some of them have been suggested in the IEA list. If we get to it and want to intervene, the problem in our part of the world is that the first position of government is to oppose. It won't work. We are working on it, yet nothing is being done. Then they'll drive into the position and say, okay, something will be done soon. We should see the results soon. Yes, that they'll tell us that they're using the same methods to try and fix new problems. And IEA caused this current problem. It says it's super and extraordinary inflation. You don't use the same measures to try and fix it. And the professors have had a very lengthy conversation on how to get that done. The people of this republic, it's almost like explaining to your son the reasons why you cannot buy toys or cannot buy ice cream or anything like that. No child wants to hear your stories. What they really want to hear is that today the ice cream is ready, tomorrow the toys are ready. How you go about it, the nitty-gritties can be left to the boardroom and the very people who will decide on this. But there is some relief required immediately. That's the rallying call. And the people of this country, I'm sure the president has been going around. Ministers go around. They are doing regional tour ministers, speaking about what's happening in the country. They should know that the most important part, people are not asking government to give them money to eat. They are asking them to do the things that will make it easier for the things they used to do previously. They can do the same things and live a certain comfortable life. Not extremely comfortable, just exist. Get a place to put your head, get food to eat, get clothes to wear, go to work, and do the basic things and contribute to the development of this country. I don't think that's too much, actually.
You know, there's a course at the Institute for Local Government Studies when you're studying local economic development. It's known as resource and commodity flows. In that course, and I'm sure that, the very good Dr. Benjamin Ofori would have engaged with some of our leaders. It would tell you a simple fact. When you're producing and when you're increasing production of food, the first thing you think about is how the food will get into the market.
Yeah.
Because movement is part of every commodity.
It's actually the reason sometimes you look for production sites close to markets.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So what they do is actually to make the road to the next market more trouble and easy for these products to find itself onto the market. Others would come and buy it and take it to other markets.
Yeah.
But when we were doing life skills and cultural studies and all of those things, life skills and all those things, we learned these things at JSS.
Do they still do life skills?
No, they've stopped. They've stopped.
They don't need life skills anymore.
No, they're not doing life skills. You would have learned these things in JSS. It's the reason I ask myself the question, is it that we just don't care or we don't know? It can't be that we do not know.
Yeah, because we have sufficient number of very competent people in government in the relevant places.
What Professor Quartey is talking about is something that has been in the accounting books. One of the things that we always implement in the accounting books when it comes to increasing things. So we say, the rate of inflation is high, we will increase policy rates. But the other things that are needed to ensure, the import substitution, which we talk about, it's taking us forever to be able to deal with it.
You know, the last time we had a similar conversation because there were concerns about food prices going up. The presidents, and this was in August last month, the president gave some assurances that the prices will soon come down as government takes steps, firm steps, to deal with the situation. There was also talk about an arrangement with the people who produce the food stuff so that, and this arrangement is transportation, so that the foods would come into the various market centers and it will be cheaper for us. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Yes, I do.
There was and it almost sounded as if this was in the hands of the market queens because they were sort of controlling the prices. So there was going to be, the Agric Ministry was going to collaborate with the market queens. There was a particular mention of the market queens. But since then, nothing has really happened. So we're not sure if it's just talk or if authorities are really interested in doing something about this.
It's our firefighting approach. When we are faced with a problem, we come out and say, we're going to do this and do that and do that.
That's true.
And then we all go back to sleep. And when we are faced with a problem again, we come back and tell you, we said we're going to do this, we are on course and all of that. Anyway, this is the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Stay with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Super Morning Show.
Atongo, if you that long time,
Husband, if me, look, I go for training for abroad, now I get doctorate for psychology. I go for training for some fresh Interplast pipes.
Hey, Atongo Bidato, you always have something new from Interplast.
See this pipe be very durable and correct. You fit say it be very potent. Look, like it be medicines, if it could a bit Viagra serve, I could do press conference soon, I could tell the whole world how my new pipes will fit stop global warming. It being go fit face the desert heat, Eskimo cold, even the Swiss canal.
Atongo, it no be global warning, it be warming.
I mean, all be the global now, whether warning or warming. See, it be the press conference where you go see why everybody for use PVC and HDPE pipes from Interplast. Interplast pipes be the best pipes. Very soon, Akosumbo and Boy themselves. Look, they don't go wait for rain because I got delayed HDPE pipes from the Red Sea and even global warning.
Hey, Atongo Bidato, international plumber with international pipes.
Interplast, wherever you are, we make sure water reaches you, even space.
The National Petroleum Authority, in collaboration with the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors and under the auspices of the Ministry of Energy and African Refiners and Distributors Association, is organizing the Ghana International Petroleum Conference, GIPCON 2022, live at the Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast Security, Accra, from the 28th to the 30th September 2022. This year's conference is under the theme Energy Transition in the African Petroleum Downstream Context, Prospects, Challenges, and the Way Forward. The special guest of honor for the event is His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, with Honorable Minister for Energy, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, also delivering an address. The conference is designed to actively bring to the fore the downstream petroleum industry's perspective and guidance on issues of governmental policy and regulatory framework. GIPCON 2022 will witness a convergence of regulators and downstream industry stakeholders from across the West African sub-region and beyond. It is a unique occasion to connect with many specialists in the downstream petroleum industry from all over the world. For registration, participation, opportunities for exhibition and sponsorship, kindly visit gipcon.com.
football kukuda mene ne de ba ofie. Go TV adarumanti. Jojo won ofie na je o city fi say. Go TV the leagues and the cup competitions e bronson. Ebre wo super sports so. Hwesenia Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Europa, and FA Cup nyina be koso wo den. Train the FIFA World Cup no so be piwo so. Better football day here. Je wo Go TV decoder 89 Ghana cedis per. Na hwe football kukuda season fufuro. Go TV. Love it.
Your morning radio.
Speed, roll it.
Coffee in your cup. Enjoy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
Baby, I block it. So yeah, my baby, mo. Yeah, then I befa, oh, befa. Yeah, then I befa. Go croco, ya no me tia to beto. And Ramanda, tuntun de da ese moto. Obrayo, se monsieur bien chalato. Chale, no be lie. Shit, bibia ya, shit, obia ya wade. Shit, chale, no be lie. Shit, bibia ya, shit, obia ya wade.
And that's when they share with Chroma share. But then I befa. Well, so if it's your birthday, MTN is saying that because it's your special day, you deserve a great birthday gift. Now, on your birthday, you get up to 3 hours of free talk time and 25 free text messages to call and text all your friends and family on MTN. And that's not all. You also stand the chance of getting birthday cakes and e-vouchers to grab your birthday gifts at some of your favorite shops and supermarkets. So, you know where all the birthday fun day, right? Join the biggest family in Ghana and let's chill on your special day by the kind courtesy of MTN. Please note, terms and conditions do apply.
Are you an accomplished leader or an emerging leader and desire to see great leadership on the continent? Then join Live to Lead conference for a full-day leadership event on Friday, October 7. Live to Lead is organized by the John Maxwell Company, live from Atlanta, Georgia, and simulcast around the globe. Theme: Leading with Integrity for the Common Good, and is delivered by world-class leaders. Speaking this year are John C. Maxwell, world-acclaimed #1 leadership expert and best-selling author, Mr. Patrick Amoah, President of Ashesi University, Madam Patricia Obonai, CEO, Vodafone Ghana, Uncle Ibo White, renowned playwright, Gwyneth Addo, CEO of the Hair Center, Madam Kathleen Addy, chairperson of the NCCE, and other international speakers. Date is Friday, October 7, 2022. And the venue, virtual on Leader Pass platform. The rate is 799 Ghana cedis. Call 054-666-5826 or 0244 012 450. 0244 012 450 or visit livetoleadghana.com for more information on this conference. Partners: Goldfields, Joy FM, Village of Hope Global Share Alliance, EcoBank, Stanbic Bank, KPMG, Hollard, APSA, and UBA. Live to Lead is brought to you in Ghana by CTL Africa, Yao Pebi Team, and CJA Consult.
Well, are you worried about acquiring electrification-free land in Kumasi? Are you thinking about obtaining exquisite and outstanding accessories to make your home unique? Do you want to buy a house? Where do you live? Do you want quality but affordable roofing sheets, blocks, granite, pavement blocks, marbles, paint, polytanks, home security, and anything construction? Worry no more, because your superstation Love 99.5 FM is here again with a Kumasi edition of the Habitat Fair 2022, which brings together finance houses, construction firms, real estate developers, dealers in furnishing, and many more. This event is slated for Friday, the 30th of September to Sunday, the 2nd of October, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Habitat Fair is brought to you by your superstation, Love 99.5 FM, and supported by DBS and Republic Bank. Love FM Habitat Fair, home ownership, where you live matters. Mamavi, what's Twitter saying?
At Papa Answer 14 says, Mamavi, I have stopped complaining about how food prices are high. Listeners should start planting foodstuff in your backyard. All right. Acquah says, the shock I got when I went to the market yesterday, a 50 kg rice that was sold at 350 Ghana cedis in July is now 490 Ghana cedis. And I ask myself, if we are the only country that is experiencing the supposed aftermath of COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war, imagine what awaits us in Christmas. I don't even want to imagine it. At AssumeP says inflation is a real problem, but politics makes it look like it is normal. At Rich_J says, with the prices of eggs and rice skyrocketing, I prefer not to say more. At Amarex J says, I was at Akrofonsu near Achem Afosu. I hope I got that right. And bought from a farmer a whole 2 tons of plantain for 30 Ghana cedis, which contains about 15 to 18 fingers. Meanwhile, 1 finger of plantain will cost about 10 to 20 Ghana cedis in Accra. Yes, the seller has to make profit, but not through this killer mode.
And if they fry it, yeah. Three.
You're paying for the oil.
Well, we'll come back to that. Adakusha says, I understand why fish with kinky is now so expensive. I asked for the prices of a box of red fish yesterday, and it was 750, 800, 900. And I was like, hey, fish can so almost 1,000 cedis.
Yeah.
Which is someone's salary. I bet give me a different type of fish. Why?
For 4 cedi, the big kinky.
Even the different type of fish.
The big kinky now is 4 cedis.
4 cedi, big
one.
Oh,
is it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
4 cedi, big kinky. Yeah.
You know, whenever
so it's either you choose 3 cedi or 4 cedi. But as I've been told consistently, the 3 cedi dear, unless you are doing fasting or you are doing weight gain reduction.
Well, anytime I've had to eat kinky.
So how will eat that 3 cedi one? Yeah.
And we will eat the 4 cedi.
Yeah, you know that's it.
Or 3 cedis too.
Yeah.
But
if you buy the 2, they look at you some way.
3 and 4 difference.
Big buy, I buy 2 bags. So,
no difference.
Hey,
even Willie, they know the difference between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
You know, Willie, when you buy watch it now, Willie is 5 cedis. So, yeah, previously you buy Willie for 2 cedis. Well, it's now 5 cedis.
Well, let me do this. Specky D says they said for more to do more, so we are waiting for more inflation figures. Well, the thing is that, look, that wache person, the one who sells the wache, is also going through certain challenges. Fuel prices has gone up, and transport fares, once they go up, they affect everything, right? That person is experiencing these challenges.
Yeah.
That person's expenditure is increased.
Yeah.
That may be the person's only source of business.
That's
so if it's the only source of business,
school fees,
how does the person pay the child's school fees?
Yeah.
She can only pay the child's school fees when she increases the prices. So yes, we're talking about, people may ask a lot of questions, but whoever sells to you also is looking at his or her cost and expenditure.
That's true.
True.
And so would increase it.
And you can combine two. Of course, there are some who are profiteering, but there's also, I don't have very honest women in the markets. They're not there to rip off people. They're just barely surviving anyway. So the one selling the eggs, for example, how many crates will she have to sell to actually make ends meet? If she's making just 1 cedi of one single crate.
Well, let's get on to WhatsApp. And Frank Daco says, in a country where the decision makers are beneficiaries of the ill economic woes like dollar hoarding, indirectly promoting black dollar market, how will the right decisions and enforcement be ensured? So he thinks that, well, the people who are in charge are the ones benefiting. So what would they want to do for us? Let's get to, some of your messages. And this one says, you wanted to contribute, but no one picked your call. Oh, sorry about that. Let's get to other messages right here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM.
Whilst you try to get the messages, Winston, the lady who sells the cooked egg,
yes.
I was just doing the calculation. 1 is 2 cedis because it's been increased recently.
Yesterday,
2 times
Pow and I were there.
30, it's 30, right? Yeah. So that would be 60. Isn't the price also, the sellers putting unnecessary profit on it?
So if she has to cook the egg, all the things involved in that.
The pepper,
and
the
there's
onion,
also pepper and
yes.
everything that comes with it.
Yeah, but 60 cedis.
Yeah.
No, but the point is, I keep saying this, Mamavi, you see the way you're complaining. If you were selling, you'd have to spend. So that's your only source of revenue. So you would increase it, and that's what it's part of the thing we talk about, Raymond, and Professor Peter Quartey talked about. It says, if you consistently increase policy rates while targeting inflation, it's actually going to lead to an increase in the cost of borrowing for the private sector and businesses. So when it leads to cost of borrowing, what that does is that it may even impede the expansion in the private sector. When there's no growth, they cannot employ.
That's true.
And if they are struggling to pay back their loans, what the loan is going to do to them also is that they then would have to, because their cost is increasing, they also would have to increase the end product. So here you are, you're attempting to arrest inflation. But if I am going to produce, I'm also going to increase it. Because at the end of the day, I have to go and pay the bank, which now has to give me a loan at a higher interest rate. And it's the reason we say that you have to, do that in addition to other measures. If you do not do that, what you would see is that it may look like you're doing something, but unfortunately, people will not feel the effect.
We like, and I keep saying this, we like means to an end things without the end itself. The end in actually introducing all of these measures is to bring relief to the people. If the people are not feeling the relief in their lives, it is completely useless. Because what's the point then? I thought whether it will be compounded, well, how do we know that? People are not feeling the actually part of some of these things in their lives anyway. And that is where the main problem is. Get it to be felt by the people. Others are doing it elsewhere. That's where states come in.
Cosby says, my friend bought 3 bunches of plantain for me on Saturday for 60 Ghana cedis, about 15 fingers on a bunch. We're in a season of bumper harvest. We will sit down for all these crops to go waste. If we hadn't been this greedy, we wouldn't be exporting processed crude and other products. We wouldn't be importing, from abroad. We have the capability to do everything, but we have chosen not to. And now it is the usual complaining from 1st January to 31st December. I have tried helping the Ghanaian. It has cost me over 400,000. Today, I have barely 2,000 Ghana cedis in my account. Someone who has been owing me since 2017, I went asking for my money. He says I can take him to court. The same people complaining about Ghana are the same people killing those of us who are trying to help us all. That's Mark Cosby sending that one.
I bought 5 plantain fingers for 10 cedis, the ripe one. I guess I was even lucky.
Well, interesting times ahead.
But
well,
it'll get better.
When we return after these messages, we'll be reading a lot more of your messages here on the Super Morning Show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Mamavi Owusu-Aboagye, an entrepreneur and a mother of 2. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Adum Praise! Yeah, baby! Adum Praise is coming soon. Adum Praise 2022 is brought to you by DBS Industries Limited, Roofing Papa Field, and supported by Franco Trading Enterprise, home of quality phones, accessories, and air conditions. That's why I praise.
Football kukuta mene ni ede ba ofie. Go TV adarumanti. Jojo wo ofie na je usite fi se. Go TV the leagues and the cup competitions e bonson. Ebre wo Super Sports so. Hwesenia Premier League, Serie A, La Liga, Europa, and FA Cup nyina do koso wo den. Twen na the FIFA World Cup no so be pi wo so. Better football day here. Je wo Go TV decoder 89 Ghana cedis per. Na hwe football kukuta season fufuro. Go TV. Love it.
Charlie, so it's actually raining and we can't hear any sound. As for this your house, when it's raining, no sound. When the sun is up, the interior is cool. What roof are you using?
They use Acquah roofing shingles from Interface Limited. Long lasting and beautiful.
Acquah roofing shingles. We all for move to Interface and get this Acquah roofing shingles.
Interface Limited is the leading supplier and installer of finishing input materials for the building and construction industry in Ghana. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at
www.interfacelimited.net. Facebook Interface Limited GH. Instagram interface.limited.